Hello guys and welcome back to a new video. My name is Pips, co-founder of PropsMadness and professional sports bettor. We have a great looking 10 game slate tonight and I'll have 5 official bets and couple of leads, plenty of bets to go through. I'm a bit sick, I didn't even go to the office today. I have trouble breathing, I'm coughing a lot, but I'll try my best to make this video enjoyable. So without further ado, let's recap the last video bets. I'll just go quickly to them. Musa Diabate, we had small bet on him, didn't go even close. And then J Huff, one of the worst losses we had. He was announced as a starter. His line jumped to 9.5, almost 10.5. We had over 6.5. He hooked us with 6 points, got early 3 fouls, only played 12 minutes. And in only 12 minutes, he got up 7 field goal attempts and hooked us. I think this was one of the best bets we had on the show so far, but lately we just don't have luck with these spots, so hope that changed today. Great looking slate, and let's dive in. My first official bet is coming from the Nuggets against the Pistons, and we are going to Tobias Harris once again, over 17.5 points and rebounds, widely available at minus 140, minus 120. Some softer books have 16.5. Take advantage of it, but we are going with 17.5 points and rebounds. Starting with the minutes, obviously, as always, looking at the expected minutes, and I'll adjust it just a bit to 27 to 35. And in those minutes, with Cade Cunningham in the lineup, he covered this line in 15 out of 18 games, averaging 22.7 points and rebounds, which is huge. Also, when we take a look at head-to-head, they played a week ago, less than a week ago, and he had 22 points and 8 rebounds. 30 points and rebounds in that game, and the lineups were kind of the same. Cade played, Durant played, and now the only thing that's different is Jokic is back for the Denver Nuggets, which in my opinion makes it even a bit better, because now Durant will try and box out Jokic, so Tobias Harris could get some weak side rebounds. Also, Denver defense is not that better with Jokic because he's not that great on defense as well. Also, with Jokic in, this game should be close. We can see that spread is only -4 for the Pistons, and last time they won only by 2 with Jokic out, and now with Jokic in, that should be a great spot. And now let's dive into the matchup and the matchup numbers. Looking at the defense against position, we can see that they are ranked as 25th. So they allow 6 most points and rebounds to forwards. And also looking at his dominant play type, it's spot up. They allow 8 most, and they are averaging transition, post up, and free throw defense. So overall, positive matchup, and the numbers look great. He's also scoring a ton from the mid-range. We can see that he scored like 40% of his points from mid-range, and Denver Nuggets are below average in both of these areas. He also scores almost 20% of his points from corners, and Nuggets allow a ton of corner threes. So great matchup, great averages, and great numbers. Covered against them a couple of days ago by a lot, and now we get 17.5. Our first official bet, Tobias Harris over 17.5 points and rebounds. For our second official bet, we are going to Orlando Magic against Thunder, and we are going to Anthony Black over 1.5 threes. This one is a bit juiced, but I'll bet it up to minus 137 easily. Here is why. Over the last 20 games, when he gets 30 plus minutes, we can see that he covered this line 16 out of 20 games. So he covering this in 80% of the games, and now gets the Thunder. Great defense, but they allow 6th most threes in the league, and they allow 10th most to his position. Also, they allow 2nd most catch and shoot. So actually a great matchup for his threes. Like 2nd most spot up, 2nd most catch and shoot, and 6th most threes overall. So this is a great spot for threes. Also, if you take a look at his hit rates, we can see that unders came in a tough matchups. So 2 out of 4 unders came against teams that don't allow threes. You can see against the Pacers, they allow 3rd least threes, and against the Nets, they allow 2nd least threes. So if you exclude those 2 games, like top 4 teams in threes allowed, we can see that he actually covered this in 14 out of the last 15 games, averaging 3 threes made per game. So maybe even laddering in this case makes sense for a great plus money, but we'll just take 2 plus 3s. We can see that even similar players by position lately has been covering, averaging 40% more threes than their closing lines. So this is a great spot for Anthony Black, and that's my second official bet, Black over 1.5 threes. My third official bet is coming from the same game, and we are going to Paolo Banchero under 23.5 points, minus 120, wildly available, DraftKings, Caesars, and bunch of others. So unlike Black, Paolo Banchero is scoring most of his points in the paint. We can see that 63% of his points are coming from the paint, less than 10 feet from the rim, and Thunder allowed the least points from that area. He is also scoring 41% of his points combined from free throw line and transition, and OKC are top 5 in both of these areas, as well as isolation and 8th best against pick and roll ball handler. The only thing they allow is spot up, but he's only scoring 11% of his points from the spot up. Also, they allow the least points to his position. So let's check how he performs in similar type of matchups, but no one is similar to OKC. They are by far the best defense in the league, but let's look how he performs in tough matchups. So when we look at the entire season, we can see that he's averaging 21.7 points a game, and in the games without Franz Wagner, he's averaging 22.7 points a game, which is still under this line, and when we set expected minutes, it doesn't change. So let's now look at when he's playing teams outside of top 10 defenses against his position. We can see that his average drops to 20.6 and covering in only 3 out of 11 games. But let's now look how he performs against great paint defenses, as the OKC is the best paint defense. And when we look at and we exclude bottom 5, just bottom 5, he's under this line in 8 out of 9 games, averaging less than 19 points a game, and he needs 24 to cover tonight. So I'm absolutely loving this spot. So our third official bet, Paolo Banchero under 23.5 points. And before I dive into the next bet, guys, I wanted to do the live stream today, but as you know, I'm sick, so it will be probably rough to hold a huge live stream, so I'll reschedule it for Thursday. As I already said on Friday, guys, let me know in the comments what times would work the best for you. I'm thinking about like 1.5 hours before the first game starts. Some people are saying like around 9 a.m. Eastern time, but I will still produce the daily video. The live stream will just be additionally to the daily videos. For our fourth official bet, we are going to Mark Williams over 11.5 points, minus 128, minus 132, wildly available, and I'm absolutely loving this spot. Looking at the last couple of games, we can see that his minutes were all over the place, but close game against the Nets, he played 30 minutes, 25 minutes in a blowout. He was benched with 5 minutes left in the game, so he was on pace to play 30. Similar thing happened against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He played 23 minutes in a blowout, didn't play the last 6 minutes of the game, so was on pace to play like 28, 29. And in the last game, 24 minutes in a huge blowout, didn't even play a single minute in the fourth quarter. So once a game where he was on pace to play 30 minutes. So last couple of games, he was on pace to play 30 minutes in every single one. And if you take a look at the expected minutes this season, and he's playing like 21 to 31. So if we are looking at 21 to 31, even though he's probably expected to play 28 to 30 minutes tonight, but we'll include those games with 21 to 28 as well. On the entire season, in those minutes, he's averaging 13 points a game, covering this in 21 out of 37 games. He is now facing a team that allows 5th most points to his position and 3rd most to his dominant way of scoring, which is transition. Also 6th most free throws and above average in putback and pick and roll rollman. So great matchup. They are also 19 ranked defense. So if you exclude top 5 teams in defensive rating, his average goes up to 14.6 points a game, covering this in 63% of the games. And additionally, when we go to his dominant play type, transition, when we look at the games when he's facing teams ranked below average, his average jumps to almost 16 points a game, covering in 70% of the games. And lastly, dominant shooting zone 2, second dominant shooting zone. When we exclude like top 6 teams against his dominant shooting zone, he's covering this line in 14 out of 18 games, averaging big 17 points a game, and we have 11.5 line. Also, he played them earlier this season and scored 15 points in only 21 minutes in a blowout. So even against the Portland earlier this season, he covered. Then we have a last game where Jarrett Allen dropped 40 points on them, and they are similar players in the way they score, transition, pick and roll man, and putbacks, mostly from the paint. So great spot for Mark Williams tonight against the Blazers. And my fifth official bet will be Bobby Portis over 17.5 points, pretty much widely available, playing against the Bulls, one of my favorite teams to bet overs against. First off, looking at the injury report, two highest scorers on the team, Giannis and Kevin Porter Jr., are both out, so huge minutes are coming Portis' way and huge usage is coming Portis' way. Looking at the last 7 games without Giannis, you can see that he's averaging 36 minutes per game, even though most of these games were blowouts. He got 37 minutes in a blowout, then got 36 minutes in a blowout, then got 36 minutes in a blowout. He's kind of locked in for 30 plus minutes tonight. So let's take a look when he's getting 24 or more minutes without Giannis. And in those games, he's averaging 18.1 points. And now there is no Kevin Porter Jr. as well. And Bulls are one of the best matchups in the league. They are bottom 10 in almost every single category. Looking at defense against position, we can see they allow the most to his position. Defense overall, 7th worst defense in the league. Looking at spot up and catch and shoot defense, they are 7th worst there. 2nd worst against post up. 4th worst against pick and roll man. Every way Portis scores his points, they are bottom of the league. So this is absolutely amazing matchup for Bobby Portis tonight, especially with no Giannis and no Kevin Porter Jr. He could be the leading scorer on the team with Ryan Rollins. So 17.5 points is too low of a line for his minutes usage and how easy of a matchup this is. And finally, let's look at how similar players perform against the Bulls. Similar players by PropsMadness covered their lines in 10 out of 14 games, averaging 43% more points than their closing lines. That's insane. And let's now look at the similar players by position alone. They covered in 7 out of 8 games, averaging 46 points more than their closing line. So absolutely amazing spot. Looking at guys like Naz Reid, John Collins, Clowney, Naz Reid again, Clowney, Mobley, like the guys that can play both power forward and center, and they play both positions throughout the game depending on who else is on the floor. Like Portis is probably starting at the 4 next to Miles Turner. Miles Turner goes to the bench, then Portis is at the 5. So those guys do very well against the Bulls. And let's now check a couple of leans. And first one, Max Christie over 2.5 threes. Looking at the last couple of games, so over the last 12 games, he's averaging over 32 minutes a game. And we can see that games when he didn't get 30 plus minutes, it was a blowout against the Bulls and a blowout against the Utah Jazz. So if the game is close, he's locked in for 30 plus minutes. So when we take a look at the entire season, when he gets like 26 or more minutes, he covered this line in 63% of the games, averaging almost 3 threes a game. But this matchup is absolutely amazing. We can see that he's scoring most of his points in catch and shoot and above the break threes. And Boston Celtics allow 2nd most above the break threes and 4th most catch and shoot. If we take a look over the last 15 games, we can see that Celtics allow 2nd most threes overall in the league. So that's amazing spot for Christie. And let's now check the correlation. When he's playing teams outside of top 10 in threes allowed, and also teams who are below average in catch and shoot allowed, we can see that he covered this line in 14 out of 18 games, covering this in 78% of the games. So great spot for Max Christie. The only thing that worries me here is this could be a blowout as the Celtics are healthy and could smash the Dallas Mavericks here. The next lean is on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 31.5 points. Absolutely amazing matchups. Probably, I would say, one of the best in the league for him. So I'll start with the matchup and then we'll go to look some numbers. We can see that he scores 57% of his points from the pull-up. They allow 3rd most pull-up. He scores almost 50% from mid-range. They allow 5th most mid-range. He scores most of his points from free throw line, and as a pick and roll ball handler, they are ranked 25th and 23rd worst. Also, they allow 4th most to isolation, 8th most to transition. Absolutely amazing spot. Probably, like as I said, the best matchup in the league for him. And then we look to the similar players by PropsMadness, and we can see they cover this line in 10 out of 11 games. I would say actually in 10 out of 10 games, because this season Fox is probably not similar players anymore, so we'll make that adjustment on PropsMadness. I'll probably remove him here because he's not like third scoring option on the Spurs, and those are guys that are first or second scoring option like Branson, Kate Cunningham, Jalen Brown. So Branson had 40, 30, Kate 39, Jalen Brown 35, Branson again 31, 33, and looking at further, Jalen Brown 27, 32, K 30 points. So guys with lower usage than Shai were scoring 30 plus easily against the Magic because they are kind of playing single coverage. They are allowing isolation. They are allowing pick and roll ball handlers points. They are allowing a ton of pull ups. So that's absolutely amazing spot. So let's dive into the numbers. When we take a look on the entire season, when he's playing 30 to 40 minutes, we can see that he's averaging 31.8 points a game. But let's now try to make it similar to this matchup. Obviously, starting with pull-ups. When he's facing teams outside of top 10 in defense against the pull-ups, he covered this in 54% of the games. An average goes up to 32.4 points a game. Now let's look at the defense against position. Let's just exclude the most difficult one he faced, and let's go to the pick and roll ball handler. That's how he scores most of his points. And let's exclude like top 5 in that area. And now we get that he covered this line in 60% of the games, averaging 33 points a game. And if you take a look at the games with J-Dub out, and he is out today, he's averaging almost 36 points a game and covered this line in 7 out of 9 games. But why is this only on lean? He is questionable, and as well we had 2 bets from this game. I don't want to have 3 bets from this game, especially on a guy that's questionable. So yeah, and that's it guys. I shared 5 official bets and 2 leans, so plenty of spots on this huge beautiful slate today. And that's it guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you tomorrow.